This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot here on a busy Thursday. Fun 3-hour program lined up. Paul Charchian in 30 minutes. Week 6 fantasy and player prop talk. We'll get into the game with him coming up at that time. So plenty today on the National Football League. Major League Baseball, 2 games in the playoffs as well. We have look-ahead lines for next week in the NFL. But this is I'm going to call it a big game for the Eagles as a litmus test, because we talk about this all the time when it comes to overall Survivor contest, right? As Circa has gotten so popular now over the years. And betting alternate win totals, either over or under. Is there a chance here the Eagles are just not a good football team this year?
Yes.
And it plays out like that over 17 games in the regular season?
Yep, you are right about what's coming up. Giants, Vikings, only a 3-point favorite on the road. Giants again. I hate when they do that, but it's twice in the next 3 weeks. Should go 3-0. And the fact that they've been outgained in all 5 games, and they've spent the most money on offense on that side of the ball, but are the least efficient, and you see how bad the passing attack is and what they are overall. Number 1 in 3-and-outs. That blew my mind.
Yeah, more than 45% of the year.
That's shocking. So they got to get this fixed. And you can have all the meetings you want, and you can tweet all the stuff you want. But at some point, this offense has to look like it did last year, and the fact that they didn't even try to run the ball in the fourth quarter or give it to Barkley with a 2-touchdown lead, and they blew that.
It's a little alarming. Now, of course, people were definitely concerned about Barkley coming into the year. He's 28 years old. That magic number for running backs has always been 30. Then they fall off a cliff, and you can't trust him anymore. There are exceptions to the rule, but he's 28, and he was coming off of that many carries, and they played that many games, and they're like, yeah, probably a good spot to sell high on Saquon Barkley. And it has not gone well for him on the ground so far to date. I'm also more concerned about the offensive coordinator now.
You have to be.
And again, maybe they dig themselves out of the hole. Yeah. I don't know. But so far, and they're 4-1 overall. They have found a way to win these games. But what if they didn't, right?
They played one good half, the Rams game.
Yeah.
The second half, when they rallied from 19. And that's when they looked like the Eagles of last year. Went with the great passing attack as well, and no answer for Brown. Other than that,
they looked good in the first half against the Cowboys on offense.
Okay, but it was a little bit of Dallas, what they were doing schematically.
I don't disagree with that, yeah. And Dallas is terrible on defense.
Yes,
but
yes, okay.
So
yes.
That factored in. Mm-hmm. And again, they have a ton of talent here, obviously. We all know this. They have been a great regular season team now for 3 or 4 years in a row. But I'm a little bit scared in the spot for the team tonight. I have zero interest in playing them on teasers and moneyline parlays. Mm-hmm. Not that I do that every day of my life anyway, but and the teaser stuff we don't get into too much anymore anyway, because the minus 110s are gone for the most part, legally speaking, here in Las Vegas, up to minus 130, 135, 140. So I don't even look. But overall, in terms of the game, the total now, Paulie, is painted at 40.5 across the screen. The Giants are 26. We talk about this every week with this team.
Especially home games.
Yep. 26-6 under as a home dog since 2020. That's 74%.
Yep.
I have a ton of numbers on the under here, and now I know every game is different, but they are 59-29 under overall since 2020. Brian Dable, 23-9 under as a single-digit dog. Sirianni, 11-2 under the total last 13 games when coming off a straight-up loss. Jalen Hurts, 20-10 under the total last 30 road games. It's one thing after another with this team.
And Evan Abrams, 22-3 underrun in home games in September and October, which is also incredible. And the gift that keeps on giving. To me, it's all about Barkley tonight. Saying they spit in my face in the documentary, and he wanted to be a Giant, but didn't like how they handled things. Worked out for him. He wins a Super Bowl. But to me, he tore him up last year. Went for $170 on him. So I think they try to get him going often, get him early and often in this game. And I like what the Guru said. The Guru's been all over his receiving yards over. That's been easy the last 2 games. I think he goes over that to 14.5 tonight, too. I think it's all about Barkley tonight and getting right and looking like the champs. And again, biting the hand that once fed him and sticking it to the Giants, as he's had several comments over the last few weeks, and what he said, and how the Giants front office and management looks like buffoons, how this turned out and how it played out with him and Danny Dimes. So I'll start there with props and the game plan for the Eagles, that it's a big Barkley game, and it has to be. So are you concerned because it's going to be maybe low scoring and Dart can make a play late, or there's a turnover, and maybe that's how they pull it out?
Well, again, you chalked this up as a totally fluky loss against the Saints last week, and you went to the 5 turnovers, right?
Yeah,
it was one right after another in that game. If they clean that up, I don't know what to make of Dart at this point. He's a good scrambling quarterback. In the air, he's not going to kill you the way it seems in terms of throwing the ball for 300 yards a game. But this defense, to me, they'd have the talent overall to cause some havoc up front, and that could also result in turnovers, a bunch of sacks, and then easy field position like it happened against the Chargers a couple of weeks ago when they won Dart's first start overall. So I'm concerned about this Phillies offensive line going against the guys up front for the Giants. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to tag along with what you said about Saquon Barkley here. The Giants on defense, now they are only allowing 38 yards per game to running backs in the air. But when you look at the DVOA numbers against running backs, they are 25th in the league. And Barkley, I played over 2.5 receptions at even money earlier today. He has gone over 2.5 in 4 out of 5 games so far this year. Targets by game, 5, 2, 5, 4, and 3. And he has 17 catches on 19 targets through 5 games. And he did have a dip in games 2 and 3, but his yards by game in the air, 24, 6, 9, 31, and then 58. Opposing quarterbacks have also thrown for at least 200 yards in every game against the Giants this year. Jalen Hurts, 200-plus yards is around even money in this game. And I don't know where it's coming from in the air, if it's going to be Goddard, Brown, Smith, no clue. But assuming that he gets a 200 or more, all I have to get out of Barkley, basically 3 catches and 16 yards, 15, 16 yards. Mm-hmm. I'm good with that.
Uh-huh. The other thing is the New York team's in prime time. Can't get enough of that.
Very true.
5-35 straight up since 2019. 1-17 in road games. Giants haven't won a Thursday night game since 2015. 0-10 going back with the issues at home. Philly 10-1 on Thursday night, and 10 in a row the Giants have lost 10 in a row here in this spot, which is incredible.
That's the longest in prime time, yes, since the merger back to 1970 for any opposing team.
It's incredible.
Last time they beat them in a primetime game was on a Sunday night in 2008.
Oh, that's dynamite. Very good. So I was kicking this around with my Giants source about who goes off and who do they throw to. Is it a little bit of Scatterbo? He loved the tight ends last week. Theo had a bunch of targets.
Right, 2 touchdowns.
So did Bellinger, right. But my source is saying it's Robinson early and often here. And there's some good props up at Caesars we'll get to later, about 5, 10 yards in each quarter, 25 yards each half. That's got to be the guy as well, that they can't get Hyatt involved. It's been more of the tight ends, and they can't get much going with the wide receivers, and Slayton's out. So to me, it's all about Robinson, who is 5-1 at Caesars to have the most yards in the game. I think they got to come out and get him going early, and then you can mix in the tight end and then the running game as well. But I won't put you off. Dart rushing yards over, too. I mean, the longest rush and the rushing yards over, 37.5. He's got 50 yards on the ground in his first 2 games. The only other quarterbacks to do that, Cunningham, Hurts, and Lamar Jackson.
Pretty good.
So I think at some point, there'll be a 20-yard rush, and he'll be able to get to 50 yards again, or at least go over 37.5.
Yeah, I don't hate the longest rush on him either. I really don't. I'm kind of conflicted here. Did your Giants source say anything about the backfield between Scatterbo and Tracy, who's back in this game? Tracy used to be a wide receiver, converted to a running back. He got hurt during that Chiefs Sunday night game a couple of weeks back, but he had 5 targets in week 1, 5 targets in week. I get it. This is with Russell Wilson, but 5 targets in week 2, and then 3 in the game against the Chiefs before he got hurt. He has a very low number tonight that you can get a nice plus price on over 2.5 catches.
He doesn't buy it.
He's not buying the
No,
Tracy.
They love Cam. Not buying the. Yeah, we'll see. Doesn't buy it.
Even
more so maybe to take a peek, because they could get Gunner involved.
He was a popular guy that I saw with fantasy people today.
Yes.
But I will say the Opta AI projections on VSiN.com, they are way down on Cam's rushing yards tonight. I think they project him for 34 yards on the ground.
Damn, that's low.
The guy I looked at was Bo Collins, because somebody has to. It's 14.5 yards. Now, here's the thing. Bo Collins screwed up a route last week, And he talked about it after the game.
Right, but they are buddies with they're buddies, and Dart had his back, and
that's exactly right.
Good job. Yep.
So does Bo Collins? Maybe he's the laterable guy tonight because it's only 14.5. Can he hit 20 at a plus price, 25 and 30? Like that's doable in 2 catches for him.
Okay, they also have owned them as we've talked about. How about the blowout factor? How about an A.J. Dillon or a Shipley anytime or last touchdown?
Yeah.
If it's a blowout and we're just going to run, and we stick one in on them late, that could be an angle too. That's not bad.
You know, the Eagles...
they're both 100-1. Last touchdown of the game and 12-1 anytime.
Last touchdown? Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, that's 2. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Okay.
First touchdown, 45-1. My fault.
All right. I want to go back to... Hold on a second here. What if the Eagles are the Chiefs from last year? I said that about the Texans earlier, right? And the Texans were not winning games because they didn't get the BS luck factor on their side in every game like the Chiefs did last year.
Yeah.
And the Eagles they're in tight games the entire year, but they don't have the capability. And they happen to win 12 games, but it's like, are they that good? Because their numbers are never there.
I can't believe this can continue, though. There's too much talent. They're the champs.
I agree.
You can't tell me that an offensive coordinator can get in the way and ruin this and blow this up. It shouldn't be that hard.
I know it. They should be able to do it in their sleep.
Right. 30th overall, dead last passing attack. Don't even try to outgained in all 5 games. Can't even run the ball. Don't try to run the ball in the fourth quarter of a 14-point lead. It's nuts.
Yeah, you can get VSiN's AI player prop projections right now. VSiN.com/props. Exclusive for VSiN Pro subscribers. We'll talk about them throughout the day today, but opt to AI projections for all these players and all the games in the NFL. Win, lose, next. You won't believe how many times this has happened in the NFL.
If you're serious about football betting, VSiN's got your weekend game plan. Fridays at 7 p.m., it's the Circa Friday Football Invitational. Saturday morning, VSiN's college football tailgate show at 9 a.m., breaking down matchups, props, and big-time bets. Later that night, join the football contest show as the sharpest betting minds give you their picks for Sunday's game. And Sunday at 9 a.m., lock in with Mitch and Paulie on VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show. Your final stop before kickoff. Check out the full lineup at VSiN.com and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next A Numbers Game, it is a Football Friday. You know what that means. Chris Felica, all of his college football picks. Dr. Bob looks to extend his unbelievable college football ATS streak on the show this year. Only 1 loss all season long thus far. Plus Steve Fezzik, everything on his mind sports betting-wise. And a special Football Friday bonus, the quarterly report from Aaron Schatz from FTN Sports with DVOA included. It's A Numbers Game, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here at VSiN.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Glad we always talk about these props. There's always a great menu and something big cashes. Schwarber, longest home run of the day, no surprise, plus 550. Hit 2 of them. 2? Great performance. That's up every day at Caesars. Most runs, Tigers, 6-1. Most home runs, Tigers also 6-1. Most strikeouts, Mize, 22-1.
How many innings? Did he even go like 3 innings?
Yeah. He got 6.
And that
held up.
Wow.
Can you believe
smoke.
that?
No.
Yep. As you said, when you're only talking about a couple games, crazy stuff can happen. Like that Tyone last week. 22-1.
Right.
Crazy. Baez to go deep. Isaiah! Behind the glass does a great job. He had Baez and Torres to go deep. Baez plus 850. Torres.
Who does he like today?
No kidding. What do you got, Isaiah? Give me a Kit Kat, too, please. Green 4-1. Bush plus 450. Bowers plus 850. McMahon 875. Edmonds 725. Schwarber plus 250. Upsets in hockey. Kings plus 175. Surprised Vegas.
Down 5-3, by the way.
Late. Bam! Got the goal right away. First 10 and first period over cashed. How about Calgary? What was Calgary in play? Edmonton led 3-0. Huh. Calgary wins plus 185. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. The foot rub's up there from yesterday. It's excellent. Today at Wrigley Field. $22. The crunchy, foot-long Korean corn dog with mustard, smoky bacon bits, and chives. I'm in. You in? Good presentation.
Yeah, but I don't think I could eat the whole thing.
Oh, no. You're a big boy.
I take a bite or two.
Yeah. Creative. I like it. Playoff baseball. Wash it down with a cold one. What do they drink there? What's it, Old Style? What's the big beer there at Wrigley? Old Style, right?
I was just there last year.
Go to Murphy's? Hang out?
I don't know if it was big or not, but I think I saw some Old Style signs. Yeah.
They're all over. Yeah.
PBR? No.
Not there. No way. It is Old Style. Okay, very good. Probably AI. Probably. They're all over the place on Instagram. But still, got to sneak this one in. The guys fell asleep on the porch, and then the bear comes in. And they, get up! It freaks him out. He was trying to... Do you think that's real? Any chance? I think that's real.
Yeah, because of the bear's reaction.
Really? I think you're right. The bear crawls up on the porch where the guy fell asleep, and then he's trying to lick his face, and that's when the human wakes up, and then he's startled, and then that's the bear's reaction.
And you see the way that he flopped off the fence then?
Yeah.
Or the patio, and he fell on his back?
The railing?
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. I love this. I got to find more of these on Instagram, where every day, this is a compilation where the dog's best friend is the mailman. And then there's the French Bulldog coming out, the highlight. Here you go. Every day, greeting the mailman. A lot like the ice cream truck, which we can show tomorrow. But it's a great compilation of, hey, every day, this is my buddy with the mailman. And they're all excited coming up and wanting to say hello.
That guy was sleeping on the bench.
That's right, yeah. Here he is getting all excited. Incredible, the relationship and the rapport with the mailman. But he knows he's coming 6 days a week, and here jumping up on the fence, hanging out, playing. Great. Lose some. Mercury. What happened? 2 up to 4.5, and the under 165 to 161.5. Ace is led by 17 in the fourth quarter. Wilson hits the game winner, 3-0. You're going to sweep him?
Do you have that under bad beats if he had the aces?
That's a good point. I did not, but you're right. That is a bad beat. Up 17 in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
You win by 2? In a 16-year drought now for the Yankees. They were devastated after the game. They thought they had it. They were World Series caliber. 2016, this will be the first ALCS without the Astros or Yankees.
Yeah, by the way, I had that backwards. I had it in my head the Aces were favored. I know that they were not. My bad. Sorry about that. I screwed you up.
No problem.
By the way, last night, the Exhibit A.
That's right.
Momentum does not exist.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Dead
in
wrong.
any of the games.
Dead wrong. Yep. I thought for sure the Phillies would lose. And it was an excellent job by pitching chaos. I thought no way they were going to be able to shut down the Yankees with the guys they trotted out, but they did.
Well, I thought they could lose, but I thought they were going to actually score runs off the Blue Jays, and I got that one wrong with their team total over. I thought the Blue Jay sticks are too good. They make contact with everybody.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
They're like those Yankee teams that had the three-peat. They make you work. They foul off pitches. They go deep into counts.
That's a long time ago.
Bad beats. Maple Leafs, Canadians under 6. 2 empty net goals in the last 90 seconds. Before the line moves, sharp plays already there. They don't just follow the market. They help move it. Powered by advanced AI. Plugged into trusted insider sources. They deliver the edge serious bettors use every day. Free reports, real-time alerts, market moving insights straight to your inbox or X-Feed. AI selections up 50 units. And the Robin Hood plays, where he donates to charity, have been on fire the last couple years. Donated $22,000 to charity. Jeff and the crew, awesome. Look for the Mr. Poison tweets on Sundays. Sharpplays.com. Get there now. Sharp Play, stay ahead of the line. Okay, so this has happened at an alarming rate. After what happened, and condolences if you had Arizona and Survivor. It was an all-timer. But a good article up yesterday at ESPN.com. After Mitchell did it for the Colts, it would have been a 76-yard touchdown. He drops it. Colts lose the game. Chris Massaro made a great point. It seems like all these teams, when it happens, they lose the game, too.
Yeah, true.
Mercado, it hurts a lot. Brian Callahan, every time it happens, you bring it up to the team. Letters and logos. Never, 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 never let go of the ball until you see the letters and logos in the end zone. I know every team in the league preaches it. It's wild to me it keeps happening. It's getting coached everywhere in the league. I'm not calling him a liar, but is it? It pops up.
I need every other coach in the league to come out and say, yes, we coach this.
I know. Well, they better be doing it now. It pops up 3 or 4 times a year, which is crazy to me. It started with Deshaun Jackson on Monday Night Football in 2008 against the Cowboys. Tirico said it's one of the all-time boneheaded plays. He's right, and it continues to happen. Other incidents, Leon Lett in the Super Bowl, Don Beebe. It was more showboating and not dropping it at the one. So it's happened the last 2 weeks. It happened 3 times in 2024. Jordan Battle did it. Safety. Pick 6 against the Titans. 61 yards toward the end zone. Lost control of the ball. Dropped it. I knew it as soon as I did it. Slipped out of my hands. I told my teammates not to celebrate. That's why I told my teammates not to celebrate when I scored. The other thing was Mercado could have picked the ball up as well. It's a weird feeling. Just run through the end zone with the ball and then celebrate. Happened to the Colts back-to-back years. Jonathan Taylor, 2024, would have been a 41-yard touchdown in a pivotal late-season game against the Broncos. Colts would have been up 2 touchdowns, would have been huge for a wild card.
Wasn't he sick on the sideline?
I don't recall.
I think Taylor was, much like A.D. Mitchell was a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
They kept, did you watch the end of that game? The camera kept panning over. Great job by the director that day.
Yeah.
They kept showing Mitchell up close, and you could tell he was absolutely devastated for that mistake.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the poor kid. You can never do that, but I felt bad for him.
Yep. They lost the game, came back, and didn't make the playoffs. Malachi Corley last year.
I remember that one.
Should have been the pinnacle of his career. On the second touch of the season, the rookie got the ball on an end around, let go of the ball just before crossing the goal line, and his first ever touchdown was overturned. The Texans were awarded the ball after it resulted in a touchback. Jets won the game. Trevathan did it in 2013 for Denver. The Jackson in 2008. The Jackson game, no one recovered the ball. Philly still got the ball at the 1-yard line, eventually scored and won the game.
Is that because they just thought he scored and the play was dead?
Yeah, everyone just stopped.
They stopped playing?
Everyone assumed he scored. No one knew what happened.
And then they went to the replay and deemed it was Philadelphia ball at the 1-yard line still. Okay, gotcha.
Can't believe it happened 3 times last year. But this stuff, it should never happen. It's a great breakdown on ESPN. I hope Callahan's right. I hope it's getting coached by every team in the league, and they just put it up, letters and logos. Letters and logos are like you said, Barry Sanders. You run right to the official, hand him the ball, then celebrate.
I like what Mike Palm said yesterday. Every player should be required to do that after they score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Find the official. Here you go. Here's the ball. If you could bet on this right now, will it happen one more time this year? In the NFL, regular season, postseason, would you say yes? Even money.
Oh, yeah.
You would.
At that price, yeah. I remember it happened in a big Oregon-Utah game. Oregon could have been knocked out of the playoff that year.
I remember that.
The Utah kid dropped at the 1-yard line.
You want to have a side bet?
You say it won't happen?
Just for fun. I think it will happen. I'll have a side bet for lunch that it will not happen.
Okay. Got it. 2 weeks in
2 weeks in a row is absolute.
I know.
So I guess maybe by like week 14, players are going to say, I forgot already.
Well, we see it all the time when there's an what people say if there's an overtime or a tie.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't know a game could end at a tie. I didn't know this could happen.
Yeah, wait, what?
I don't know how it worked.
I've never been in a tie. I've never
know.
heard of that before. How's that possible? NFL tie, really? Huh. That's going to happen, by the way, at some point. There will be a team, rest assured, that will get the ball in overtime and take like 9 minutes and change off the clock, or maybe the entire clock, kick a field goal, score a touchdown, game's over, other team does not get the ball. That'll happen.
People said it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Chiefs-Niners.
Like, that's inevitable.
What happens when the clock went to 0?
Fantasy football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian on the program coming up next. I think we watched the coming out party for this potential star in the league last week. Will Charch agree? Find out here on VSiN.
Got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
The NBA betting season is tipping off, and VSiN's got you covered with our brand new NBA betting guide. We've packed it with key insights and betting trends, previews of all 30 teams, and of course, our experts' season-long best bets. It's the playbook you want in your hands before the first tip. The guide is exclusive for VSiN Pro members, so don't miss out. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN,
the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Hardcore fantasy football player props here as we go out to the Progressive guest line for our weekly chat with Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian. GuillotineLeagues.com is the website. Podcast Fantasy Football Weekly. Charch, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always, pal. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's not the greatest Thursday night game of all time, but I've got a bunch of props for the second segment that are all about tonight's game. And I think if this game just unfolds the way I personally would like it to, these props are gonna feel pretty good, and we're gonna rationalize them pretty well. So I'm excited at least for some betting angles in a game that might otherwise be kind of meh.
All right, very good. I can't wait for those coming up in about 15 minutes. Before the last break, I said I think we watched the coming out party for this potential star in the league last week. And if you were going to agree on Quinshon Judkins, are you that high on him? Like, I love
He's
the dude.
Gonna be great.
He completely popped,
Yep.
right?
Yep, totally. This is just not a one-off thing. And if he wasn't a sensational talent, there's no way the Browns would have done what they did, which was sign him and then like 10 days later start him. They worked him into the game plan immediately. Kevin Stefanski knew that Quinshon Judkins was on a whole different level than every other running back that they've got on the field, and worked him immediately into the lineup. He is a freaking beast. He's got that rare combination of power, footwork, speed. He's a complete back. He can catch better than people realize that he can catch. And we're going to start seeing him getting more and more involved in the passing game, something that where I think his lack of being there for training camp in the preseason has limited his third down snaps, but that's starting to change too. And he's getting more reps there. And so Judkins is going to start helping through the air a lot as well.
Flacco's traded. A day later, he's named the starter. What do you expect out of him against the Packers again for Cincinnati?
Is a disaster. And I love to use the word again, Paulie. The Packers just prepped for him 3 weeks ago, put him on 142 passing yards and 0 touchdowns. And here he comes again, but with a worse offensive line. That's possible. The Bengals rank 31st in pass block win rate. If you're trading in the division, right, you only make the trade in the division if you know you're not going to be humiliated by the trade, because the player's going to see is going to go against you twice. He can talk game plan and all the other stuff, right? Look at Jahan Dotson. I mean, when Washington traded Jahan Dotson in the division right before the start of a season, they're like, that guy's not going to hurt us. That's what the Browns just did. They're like, they know Flacco's washed. He's not going to help. He had just 2 scores in 4 games. He had 6 picks. Not all his fault. Some of it was on his receivers who gave away some picks. But here's the thing about Flacco that was really killing him. And try to get your mind around this. He was throwing the league's shortest pass, barely 5 yards, and he was at a 58% completion rate. You're in the Anthony Richardson zone at 58% completion rate on 5-yard passing. That should be like an 80% completion rate at 5 yards, but he couldn't do it. This is going to be a wreck and maybe a short-term solution. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins obviously are huge upgrades from what he had in Cleveland, but I don't think it's going to matter here. I think his days of coming in as a white knight are over.
All right. So you don't even think like upgrade at all from what we've had from Jake Browning so far?
Honestly, no.
No.
And Browning was getting killed by his offensive line, and Browning's not great either. And but what we were getting from Flacco was just when he was under duress, it was all dump off stuff and inaccurate at that. And I think it's going to be the same thing.
Okay.
The guy who could help, if there's one player that's going to be aided by Joe Flacco, it is this particular guy. And I should have looked up his prop, and I haven't done it yet. It's Mike Gesicki. If you look at what Flacco has done with his tight ends over the last 3 seasons, it's all tight end play, including this year, where we got both David Njoku and Harold Fannin. I talked about these 5-yard passes. That's tight end territory right there. So Mike Gesicki, normally somebody we'd never roster in fantasy, we wouldn't throw any money against. If there's somebody that's going to be a beneficiary here, it's going to be a tight end.
I'm seeing 2.5 catches over a little bit of plus money at certain books. Yards prop 17.5 range.
Yeah, that's your play. And as far as I'm concerned, and because I don't know off the top of my head where Cleveland's tight ends rank in catches, but I'm guessing it's right at or near the top of the league in total catches by tight ends. So I would play the reception side more before I'd play the yard side, but they're both absolutely playable.
All right. Well, strong. You were great with Mason last week as well when you saw the number. What do we expect out of Fields again?
Thank you.
With rushing. What does Fields do against Denver in the London game?
Boy, I've got stat of the day coming on this one. So Fields has been a great fantasy producer in his 3 full games. He has finished as quarterback 2, quarterback 4, and quarterback 7. That's elite stuff. That's like Josh Allen level finishes right there for Justin Fields. But he's almost entirely doing it with his legs. And what happens if he doesn't run? Because the Broncos, incredibly, on the entire season have allowed 15 quarterback rushing yards. That's it.
No.
The whole season, 15 quarterback rushing yards. And they faced Daniel Jones, who they held to 2 rushing yards. He's super mobile. Jalen Hurts, obviously very mobile. He had 3 rushing yards. So if Fields can't get it done with his legs, then he's got to try to pass his way to fantasy relevancy against the Broncos. This is the league's best pass rushing team. They lead the NFL in pressures. They lead the NFL in sacks, sack percentage, and the Jets rank 23rd in pass blocking. So you can see a scenario where Justin Fields has got to make instant decisions in the passing game, and that's not great for Justin Fields, where when he can set up, scan the field, and eventually find his guys where he's an okay passer. That's not going to happen here. Dud game incoming from Justin Fields, I think. And the possibility of getting benched is not zero. This team played better with Tyrod Taylor than they did with Fields. And if this thing gets really ugly at half, there's a scenario where Justin Fields not the starting quarterback in the third quarter.
You're right. That's probably the most impressive stat we're going to hear all day.
Yep.
Broncos have allowed 15 rushing yards. That's 3 yards per game through 5 weeks, obviously. And they've played Hurts and Danny Dimes. Wow. That's great. Paul Charchian, our guest, GuillotineLeagues.com. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Great performance last week from rookie running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill. Is this something that he's going to build upon and like turn into the, this whole thing about throwing darts with the Commander's backfield? Is he the guy now? Does this continue?
I think what we saw last week was the breakout game for a young possible star who's going to emerge. It was a 3-man log jam in Washington, and we were just waiting for somebody to have the breakout game. It's Bill. Krosky-Merritt gets double the snaps last week, double the carries as anybody else, and he looked great, and he got the team's only goal line carry. And now, Monday night, he's going to face the Bears. Last time we saw the Bears, prior to the bye, they were giving up 200 rushing yards to the Raiders.
Yes.
Last year, Chicago allowed the most fantasy points to runners. This year, Chicago has improved all the way to the 4th most fantasy points to opposing runners. So it's green light for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I've got him as running back 13 this week, ahead of Derrick Henry.
Wow.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say that's
By the way, do you want to hear some Derrick Henry futility stats that are astounding?
They're not breaking tackles again?
Yeah, that's part of it. It's Henry had the breakout game in week 1, and we're like, hey, it's found of you. Derrick Henry's going to be fine. Since that game, he's carried the ball 46 times. Let me tell you where he ranks among every NFL runner who's carried the ball 46 times since the opener. He is second to last in yards per carry at 3.2. Derrick Henry is dead last in yards after contact. He's dead last in avoided tackle rate. He hasn't topped 50 yards. And here's your craziest Derrick Henry futility stat. Since that opening game, he has 1 broken tackle. Nobody else that has his 46 carries has less than 7. Derrick Henry has 1 broken tackle since the opener. That's it. So maybe we are finally to the point where Derrick Henry is cooked.
Well, I mentioned this earlier, right? Because Barkley's 28, and I said that age for running backs where they fall off the cliff is 30. Henry's 31. Clearly was unbelievable again last year. Is this all him then? I mean, based on those numbers, it says a lot of it is on him, but they've also had, countless injuries so far this year. He's 31.
Yeah, more of the injuries on defense than the offensive line. But yes, I think that is part of it. But when there are things like broken tackles, that's an individual runner who needs to just, I need to run through a tackle. I need to make somebody miss. I need to have good footwork. There's a lot of this stuff that's one-on-one. Yards after contact, That's been Derrick Henry's whole career
That's
has
who he
been
is.
yards after contact and broken tackles.
Right.
And he's not doing that this year.
For some
So,
context
to me,
here-
this is a fundamental change.
Sorry, Charge, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But for some context, I want to go back. You tweeted this out, I want to say, after the game the Raiders played maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you were blown away. Didn't Genty have 11 broken tackles in one game?
13.
13?
Wow.
Derrick Henry's had 1 in 4 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's staggering. Staggering, yes.
Wow. All right, we're going to continue. You're going to hang tight for one more segment. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Awesome stuff there from Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian. You can follow him on X at Paul Charchian. Website is guillotineleagues.com. He was telling you that it might not be the sexiest game on Thursday night tonight, but he has a lot of angles that he likes on tonight's matchup. And he will detail a wide receiver who could go off based on his overall matchup in the passing game tonight. Find out who he's talking about next here on VSiN.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out Stormy and JBT on Money Moves, only on VSiN.
And maybe that's why they wouldn't, because they're the Giants and they don't do things that make sense.
Out of all these divisions, this is the one that I am the most curious about because I do think there are positive signs for the Bears.
They'll take you on a fun, fast-paced journey, weaving in everything you need to know to make an educated bet, while also not shying away from the excitement of a same-game parlay sweat. Money Moves, weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll dive into tonight's Thursday night affair between the Eagles and the Giants. Divisional game on the road for the Eagles here in the Champs. Paul Charchian still on the program. Progressive guest line. He is with GuillotineLeagues.com. All right, you said you have a bunch of angles for tonight's matchup, even though it might be kind of a dud game on paper. What was the first thing that really caught your eye here?
First thing is Jackson Dart's anytime touchdown as a rusher. It's plus 380. That's a nice value for one of the better rushing quarterbacks in the league. Although I want to preface it with this. To Mr. and Mrs. Dart, if you're going to name your kid something cool like Jackson with an X, how about not including a random S after the X? So you're Jackson? I don't know, man. It's like one or the other.
Just go Jaxon, right?
Yeah, right. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba. Right? Yeah. Jaxon. Why? We don't need the S in there. That was trying too hard to be cool, I think. Okay. Let's talk about the rushing for Jackson Dart. Run the ball 17 times in designed runs the last two games that he started. He's topped 100 rushing yards. He's already scored one rushing touchdown. And you might be thinking to yourself, yeah, but this team's going to use Cam Scatabo at the goal line. But in these past 2 weeks, since Jackson Dart has been quarterback, they've actually given Scatabo the ball 4 times from inside the 5, which could be Jackson Dart territory. Scatabo has turned those 4 carries into 0 touchdowns. So maybe they pivot away from Scatabo. Scatabo also fumbled in the run zone last week, basically changed the outcome of the game with that fumble. It was turned into a touchdown for the Saints. So here's Jackson Dart. They're without the 2 starting receivers. Brian Daboll's going to need some kind of spark. Running with Dart in general could help. And here's the kind of stat you're only going to hear on VSiN. The Eagles are seeing the second most quarterback runs and scramble. Designed quarterback runs plus scrambles combined per game. Eagles are seeing the second most. It's 7. It's a kind of stat you won't hear anywhere else, but you will hear. And that's why we're interested in Jackson Dart anytime touchdown plus 380.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Well, you nailed Tonjes last week.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a beauty.
Yeah, 425 on Tonjes last week. Sticking with Dart, let's go here. Now, I like the rushing upside. I don't like the passing. Let's talk about under 179 passing yards. Even though he's the lowest line for any starting quarterback this week, I still feel like the line is a little too high, in part because Dart threw 40 times last week in a close game against the Saints. This game's probably not very close, and I don't see 40 opportunities coming for Dart. And even if he does get the volume, here's what you need to know. All Jackson Dart is throw short stuff. He averages 5.2 yards per pass. It's hard to get to 180 passing yards, 5 yards at a time. The Eagles, 7th best in defensive EPA on passes over 10 air yards. So even if Jackson Dart does decide that he's going to try to air it out some, this is where the Eagles are really good. The Eagles are 3rd best in completion percentage on passes of over 10 air yards. And then, of course, Dart's missing his 2 starting outside wide receivers. Malik Neighbors is out. Darius Slayton is out. And then one last stat that should help convince you that it's all underneath stuff for Jackson Dart. He's tried 9 passes of over 20 yards. He's completed none so far. No downfield passing attack to this point for Jackson Dart. We're going to go under the 179.5 passing yards. All
right, buddy. How about this then? Longest completion of the game based on everything you just said, under 32.5 yards.
You got it. I hadn't thought about that angle. Under feels great on this. It is going to be, he's going to complete passes. And I was tempted to take the over on completions, but I don't want to get into this such a narrow little spot where I got to hit the over on completions and under on yards, but it's going to be a lot of short stuff. And that brings into play Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatabo, both of them over 2.5 receptions. Tyrone Tracy's plus 155, which I especially like. So let's jump in the VSiN time machine. I want to go back 2 weeks. Tampa is facing the same Eagles defense that the Giants are playing tonight. The Bucs, just like the Giants, are short a bunch of receivers. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin then, Jalen McMillan gone, right? So they're short receivers. So what do? They unlock Bucky Irving and Rashad White, who combined for 9 catches and 130 receiving yards. Bucky Irving, Rashad White against these same Eagles. So does Brian Daboll use a similar scheme, also missing his starting receivers, Neighbors and Slayton, Tyrone Tracy returns this week. He is a converted receiver. And in weeks 1 and 2, pre-injury, Tracy was targeted 5 times and 5 times. And then when Tracy was out, Scatabo proved he can catch. He's 6th amongst all running backs in receptions. With Jackson Dart as his passer, he's caught 8 of 9 passes the last 2 weeks. So Jackson Dart already familiar with throwing to his running backs. Add in Tyrone Tracy. I think both guys go over the 2.5 receptions because they got to throw to somebody, and they need the running backs to be difference makers because their wide receivers aren't going to be those guys. They got to generate somebody, the ball into the hands of players who can make a difference. The running backs, Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatabo, are those guys over 2.5 receptions each.
I like the tight ends, too, who had a ton of targets last week as well. What happens with Barkley? Not only this game, but moving forward. When are they going to get him going? And he torched them last year with a $170 on the ground.
Barkley has been shockingly mundane. Shocking. He's averaging 53 rushing yards per game. And let me throw some advanced metrics on you that are also, just like Derrick Henry, disturbing. He's 3rd to last in broken tackle rate. He's 4th from last in yards per carry. He's 3rd from last in yards after contact. We're talking about Saquon Barkley here. Last year, Barkley had 8 gains of over 40 yards, and that was a lot of what made him great were these big explosive plays. Through 5 games, he's got 1 play of over 40 yards. It was a long touchdown reception. Now, tonight, Saquon will not have star guard Landon Dickerson on the field. That could work against him as well. Now, fortunately, the Giants' run defense has been bad, and their pass defense has been good. The path of least resistance here is on the ground, and through sheer volume, Barkley may get to his number. I think it's 88.5, right? 88.5 rushing yards. He might get there on volume, but that's a pretty fair line. And I wouldn't bet this, but this is converging trends here. A Giants run defense that ranks 31st in defensive run rate. So they're going to try Barkley a lot in this game. I see a lot of volume coming.
Very good. Okay, final player here. And this is the guy I was talking about before we hit the commercial break. You do think that this is a pretty strong matchup overall for Devontae Smith?
I do. Now, he's been highly inconsistent, but he's coming off his best game of the year. New this year in this new Kevin Patullo offense, Devontae Smith is running more from the slot than he is from the outside. This is a big change for Smith, and it might be starting to click, the slot route running. Last week, he had 8 receptions, his highest total since last December, and his second highest receiving total in 2 years. Smith's new slot usage gives him a very predictable matchup against the Giants' slot cornerback. His name is Drew Phillips. He's bad. Phillips has allowed the 5th most receiving yards of any player in his coverage. All by himself, he's giving up 52 yards per game. My line on Devonta Smith is 48.5 receiving yards. We're going to go over here. Phillips has been scored on twice, by the way, this year. You could try the Smith anytime touchdown too. Giants allowing the 2nd most fantasy points to slot receivers, which I don't have what that means in terms of like yards and receptions, but that's also a strong indicator here of a very good matchup for Devontae Smith over Drew Phillips and the over 48.5 receiving yards.
Oh, there you go. You said you had a strong case, and boy, oh boy, did you ever make it for the game tonight. So I'll tell you, it could be a very boring game, but as long as the bets are cashing, It makes it super exciting, my man.
That's all that matters, right?
Yep. You're the best. Love talking to you, Charch. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, friends.
Enjoy the game tonight.
We'll talk to you next week.
There you go. GuillotineLeagues.com is a website. Follow him on X at Paul Charchian, and he was on the Progressive guest line.
That is something with these running backs, the catches. That would be wild. They all do that like they did with Tampa.
Well, definitely shop around, by the way, because Tracy is either heavily juiced over 1.5, or you can find like plus 170 on over 2.5, that high.
Yeah, and I know it was the Saints, but what Johnson had, and what he had for targets as well last week.
I'll tell you what, though. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go like off of only one performance, but Theo Johnson just looks like a dude on the football field that should be an incredible target like every single game.
Yeah.
I would not want to cover him.
I got you. Yep. Getting close to the start of the NBA season. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get the NBA betting guide. Little as $9.99 for your first month. Previews and power ratings on all 30 teams. A ton of futures up there. A lot of hosts weighing in on their best bets. Von Tobel's favorite title bets, props, live betting strategies. Get an edge this season. The NBA betting guide with a full month a VSiN Pro, just $9.99, VSiN.com/subscribe. Incredible offer. You'll get lost in all the content and the menu that's up there. Excellent job by everyone. VSiN.com/subscribe.
We'll talk a little college football coming up next as John Talty joins the program, covers the sport nationally for CBS Sports. How do the North Carolina football players respond to the Bill Belichick mess as they have to fly across the country and play at Cal next week? They have a full week to stew on this. We'll ask them coming up next.